and you can just create an account. Okay, let's go back and try to log in. Normally you should get a verification code.
No. Let's try sign in.
Yeah. But I think it will tell you that you're not verified yet. You didn't get you didn't get an email, right?
Let me check.
Yeah, the top one. Yeah, that's the one. So yeah, but it's hard to type it because the page is gone. So what I'm gonna do is, for now, we're like beta testing this. So I will give you my account. You can log in with my account. So 1 second. So you can click on sign in, right?
Yeah.
And then choose my account. This is my account. Yeah, so now if you go to JavaScript and click choose skills.
Yes.
And choose the HTML and CSS, the introduction. And then you click on the step by step. You basically see the steps that we will follow, but we will do it together. So you can close this one.
Alright.
But if you want to see it, and even if you want to watch a video, you can click watch video. You'll go to a YouTube video that I created. But we're just going to get started. So let's do it. If you open Visual Studio Code.
I'll close this one down.
Yes, close this. So normally I start with showing you some stuff, but because I know that you know the basics, we're just gonna see how far you'll get.
Okay.
So the first question is, first save it as mywebsite.html, this first file. So file and then save.
I didn't hear you well. What did you say?
Oh, just save this file. Just click on either Command S or file and then save. And just call it mywebsite.html. So as you know, everything that has the HTML extension, will always be opened as HTML, right?
Yeah.
So I think you saved it on the desktop. So what you could do is open it on the desktop and put it on the right side, and then put this on the left side, so you see both at the same time. What you could also do is download the browser extension, but let's open it first now from the desktop. .html, yeah. So yeah, put this on the right side. Oh yeah, you're not on my website.html. I went searching for it.
Let me see.
Let's see where it is. Yeah. You did save it on a desktop, I think, right? Or not?
Oh wait, maybe over here.
Oh, other. Yeah, it could be.
No.
Also not. Maybe documents? Is it part of documents? No.
Probably.
I think you saved it in desktop, but
it usually goes over here.
really? All the way to home? Okay.
Yeah. Let me see.
There it
Yeah.
is. Yeah. So open it with the browser, right? Yes. So this is it, right? You're opening your local file. So if you put this on the right side and that one on the left side. So I can also show you a trick that if you can you let's see, there is an option to turn on if you go to the call. There is an option to turn on drawing. I think I'm not sure or not.
Where?
In the call itself. So you're in the call with me, right? Can you see? Oh no, the button is not here. Normally there's a button that I can draw, but never mind. Never mind. I'll go and help you out like this. So if you go to yeah, I thought there was a drawing button, but I don't see it. But doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Yeah, close it. Then, if you click on the green button on the Mac, you can make it go to the right side. So if you go to the top, to the right on the three buttons, right? If you chose the right button, yeah, hold it.
Yeah.
Hold that one. Oh, if you hold it or I think if you click right mouse button on it, then you can make it go to the right. Make it smaller first.
Yeah.
And now make it go to the right side of the screen. Yeah. So you can choose this one on the right and this one on the left. Yeah, if you click it. So this is a good way you can make it bigger or smaller in the middle, right?
Okay.
So yeah. So now you can create your first HTML template. Do you know how to do it? Yeah, perfect. So if you make it this part a little bit bigger and the right part a little bit smaller, yeah, exactly. Or maybe in the middle you can also change it. But this is pretty good.
Yeah.
So we can see the HTML, right?
Yeah.
So first we're gonna change the name of the title.
Yep.
Just call it first web page. Yeah, if you save it. So what you could also do is turn on autosave. So if you go to in the file and you go into or you could do it from the top. So if you click on the file and then go to the top, yeah, exactly, file and autosave. It's a little bit below. Yeah, it will save you a lot of time. Yeah, exactly. So do you know where you can see the title in the website?
Yeah, at the tab.
Yeah, exactly. So if you create a new tab, you will see it in the tab, right? Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's that. Then we're going to create a input element. Do you know how to do that?
Yeah, H1, right?
No, just a input element. So the name of the element is input. So you open the opening tag and then input. Yeah. Exactly. So if you save it, right, you will see the input in the browser. You have to refresh the browser. Yeah, so that's the input element, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then after the input element, we're going to create a button. After the input element, so not inside of it, after. Yeah, we're going to create a button element, and I think it's easier to do it below it, so below the input element, so it looks nicer. Yeah, that's a good spot. Yes, close it. Yeah, and refresh the page. So you see the button now, but you don't really see it, right? Because yeah, but the button needs some text to be able to become a real button. So just say click me. Yeah, exactly. If you save it now, it will become a real button. So here you can see the difference, right? Some elements, they don't need a closing tag, and some do need a closing tag.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason is, if it needs some text inside, then it needs a closing tag. And if it doesn't, then you don't need the closing tag.
Alright.
So we created a button and an input element. So now we're gonna give it some style already. So as you know, you can make as many elements as you want. You could do H1, P, tab, paragraphs, images, etc. But we're gonna create a style to it. So there are different ways to add styling, right? CSS to your HTML. The simplest way for now is to add the style tag within your body element. So below the button, just go below the button and type enter. Yeah, and create a style element. So opening tag, yeah, and then style.
Style.
Yeah. Close it. Yeah. So if you type enter, yeah, within the style, we can add CSS, which basically means either add colors or basically making it look good, or change the layout of the page, make it a line on the left or the right, etc. Right? So we're just gonna add a simple color to the button. So we can do this by naming the element itself. So we can say the word button. So just type button. Yes, and then opening braces and closing braces, curly brace, curly, yeah. And then within that, we have to say which property, that's how it's called, we want to change. So you could do the width, but let's change the color. Yes, and then just give it a color, maybe red or whatever, not white at least. Aqua is fine. So yeah, if you now refresh the page. So this is how we can add color, right? So color always applies to the text. If you would have done background color, it would actually change the color of the button, right? So we did this. Now we're gonna copy the input and the element. Can you copy both elements? So input as well as button. Yeah, just copy it because we're gonna get 3 of them. Yeah, and then below copy another one. Yeah, paste it, and below paste it again. Yeah, if you refresh the page. So now we have 3 of them, right?
Yeah.
So what happens with the style? If you choose button, it will change all the buttons.
Yeah.
But let's say we just want to change 1 or 2 buttons.
Yeah.
So what we can do is we can add attributes to the button and then change based on the attribute instead of based on the element. So what it looks like is if you go to the first button and yeah, inside of that you add an attribute. Let's call it class, the class attribute. Oh, but you keep the word button. Yeah, space. Oh, no.
Where is
Yeah, you have to press space. Yes, and then class equals, and then the value. So let's call it class 1. Yeah, perfect. So you can call it if you would call it like let's say red button, it would be better, right? So you have a good name. But 1 for now it's fine. So then in the style, we're gonna call the class 1. So how do you do that? In classes are called by the dot. So if you go below the button, just below the button, so below it. No, below it. So we're not calling the button like this, but really below the curly brace. Yes.
Yeah.
So we're gonna change the button with the class 1, and we can call all the classes in the document by just adding a dot. Just add a simple dot, and then the name of the class. So 1. Yes. Now opening curly brace, and the closing one. Yeah. So let's make the color red in this case. Yeah, save it and refresh the page. So let's say we want to also change the second button. How would we do that?
The same way.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, just do it. Yeah. So let's say we wanted the same. This is possible, right? What you were doing, but let's say we wanted the same color. Let's say we wanted also red. What would you do?
If I also wanted red, then I will just give it the same class name.
Exactly. Can you do it just to show it? Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
And if you refresh the page, exactly. So every element now that you give the same class name will have exactly the same properties, right?
Yeah.
So like you said, you could also do it with second and then make another one and change that. So there's one more thing, like classes are meant to use on multiple elements, right? But let's say you want to change just one element and only that element. So both your buttons are already red, right? But now you want to give it that first red button, you want to give it a different color. So for that, we have another attribute called ID. So if you go to the first button and you add another attribute, which is ID, one space in between, yeah, exact, equals, and let's call it, let's call it blue button. Yeah, I would write them together just to not get any, yeah. So let's say blue button, yeah, perfect. And then in the style attribute, we're gonna change that button to blue. Let's say we want dark blue. So below the 1. So we can call IDs by no classes we do with the dot, but IDs we do with a hashtag.
Okay.
And then the name, so blue button, and it's case sensitive, right? So you have to, yeah. Opening curly brace and yeah, exactly, closing curly brace. So let's say we're changing this to blue, so just do it dark blue. Yeah, perfect. So if you save it, so this is the protocol in the background, right? First, what it will do, it will change all the elements. So basically all the elements will become Aqua. It goes really fast, so you won't see it. The second it will do is change all the classes. So all the buttons with the class 1 will become red. And then last, it will do all the IDs. So in this case, dark blue. So an ID always overrides a class. And a class always overrides an element. So if you go to... Can you open the same page in Chrome? So if you copy the URL, do you have Chrome? You do, right? Yeah. If you open the same URL in Chrome, so just open the Chrome browser because it's easier to show you there. Yeah, and then you inspect the, so if you right mouse button, inspect. Yes, so you see the elements, right? And if you go to below to compute it, yeah, there you can also see it, to be honest. You can also see it there. But if you go to compute it on the right, all the way on the right, yeah, all the way to the right, yeah. You can see the styles, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and then also you see compute it. Yeah, so if you go up, all the way up and compute it, yeah. So this is the information about how the elements are laid out, right? And in the styles, you can see the styles and which one has priority. So, am I right with saying this? Give me a second. You should be able to see, oh, you have to click on the button. So right click on the button and click inspect. Yeah, on the button itself, yeah. So let's say you want to know how the button works exactly. So the way I set the protocol, so the button all change to Aqua first, then they change to red, but the ID always overrides the other two. So you can see exactly which things are going on, right? What the code is written and how to override it, right?
Yeah.
So there's that. Then, so that was CSS. Then we're gonna do some JavaScript. If you open the console tab here in, yeah, exactly. So you can call for elements that you have created in HTML, right? And you can always, in every browser, you can always in the console tab perform JavaScript because every browser comes with JavaScript. So a web page in JavaScript language is called a document. So if you type document, you're basically going to the document object, yeah? And yeah, and if you type a dot, you will see everything that you can do with this object. So in this case, we want to see, we want to get a button, and we know that one of the buttons has an ID. So you can type get element by ID. Yes. Yeah. And then the opening brace and the closing brace, and within it, as a, not the curly brace, but the normal parent, yeah. No, the other one. The one next to the P button.
Wait, this one, right? Or?
No, that's a square brace. That's a No, also not the curly. Yes, that one. Yeah. So and then yes, and we call it as a string, right? A piece of text is a string, so you have to use the. No, you have to type the curly braces because we're gonna call the ID that we created. No, the sorry, I said curly braces. I meant the. How do you call those? The what's the name of those things? The one above the shift button. How do you call those? The
You mean this one?
no. The two. Oh my god.
One.
What are those things called? The, yeah, that one. Yeah. Oh shit. How do you call those things again? Those things.
Quotes? Yeah.
Yeah, quotes.
Oh.
Yes. No quotes. Perfect. And then the name of the ID that we gave it was red button. I think, right?
Let me check.
I think it was red button.
Blue.
Blue button. Yeah. Okay. Copy that one. Yeah. If you type enter, you will get the blue button, right? So if you give it your mouse on top of the blue button, on the code, in the code, you can see which one it is. Go below. One below. Yeah. Do you see it highlights it?
Mm-hmm.
So let's say I want to get the two with the red button, right? I want to manipulate those. How would I do that? So yeah.
This one, right?
Yeah, this one and the left one. I want it both. I want this one and the right one. So the left, the first two. So I know they have the same class, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I could do document.getElement by class. Element by class name, yeah. And then you give it, I think, do you remember how we called it?
Let me check. It was, I think, one.
Yeah, so use that one. A small O, I think.
Small.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you type enter, you will get a collection of two buttons. Can you see that? If you open it, yeah, exactly. So you see 0 and 1. It always starts with 0, right?
Mm-hmm.
So now you have those two buttons. So if you go with your mouse over the 0, you'll see that's the first one.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you don't have to open it, but if you just go on top of it, you will see that's the first one. If you go to the 1, you will see it's the second one. Oh, the console. Yeah, you will see button.1 is the second one. Can you see that? If you go a little bit below with your mouse. Yes. Can you see that it changes to that one? So that's how you could call the elements by class name, right? Now you called both of them.
Mm-hmm.
But let's say the first one didn't have an ID, but you still want to call only the first one. Now you called both. So because you get an array back, an array basically means more than one element because you get multiple elements. So you can type the same thing. So just press arrow button up on your keyboard. You will get the same code. Yeah. And then open a square brace. Yes. And then 0. And then close the square brace like you have now. Just means only call the first one of the array that I get back.
Yeah.
Right? And if you type a 1, you get the second one that you call back.
Mm-hmm.
So now you can also, we can also call all the buttons. So if you type document again, so type enter, just type enter, and type document, dot, and then get element. Yeah, so to call all of them, we have to type get query selector. So I said get element, but type get query selector. That's a different way of calling it. Yeah, with a Q. Yeah.
The capital Q or?
Capital Q. Yeah.
Okay. What's it? Those query?
Yeah, it's query. Oh, sorry, not the get. You can remove the get. Document query selector, I think. Yeah. So Q. Yeah, that's the one. Query selector.
First one or second one? The select all?
Let's call the all and then just call all the buttons. Yeah. And then put as a string, so between quotes, the word button. Yeah, but not the square. Square is only for arrays. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Quotes.
All right.
No, the button. So we're calling all the button elements.
Button.
Yeah, so we get all the buttons back now, right?
Mhm.
So let's say I only want the first button. How would I do that?
Then I'll open this.
Yeah, that's a way, but you could also do it from the console in one line.
It's like this.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
But you also need to do it like get element by class name or.
No, you can do it get document.query selected all.
Mhm.
Just to type that.
Right.
Just by pushing up and down on the keyboard. Yeah, exactly. Not just 0. Oh, yeah. Just put a 0 behind it between curly braces. Yeah. Can you see? You already get the first button. So this way you can call all the elements of a page and just say I want the first one or the second one or the third one.
Mhm.
And of course, later when you start coding, you can say dot. Every button is an object, so every object has a dot click or those functions that those buttons have, right? So that's when you
Yeah.
start coding. That's how you're gonna do it. So yeah, this was the basics of understanding HTML. So you have all the elements, you have the attributes, and you have the values. Those are the three things that are very important. With CSS, you have the three ways to call them, right? So you have you can call them by ID, you can call them by class, or you can just call the element itself. And you have to know how to add a property. So you have properties like color or background color, and the properties they have values, right? You have to give it value, blue or dark blue or whatever.
Mhm.
And then with JavaScript, you can always test if everything works by going to the console, and every browser supports JavaScript. So you can
Yeah.
call the elements and see if it works. Because of course you can, in your code, you can say document.write and perform any JavaScript within the script function, right? So that's kind of the next class. So this is the basic you have to understand from the web, right? So every web page works like this, right?
Mhm.
Do you have any questions about the HTML, CSS, or the JavaScript?
No, that's pretty clear.
Yeah, I think you already knew a lot of because you typed it pretty easily, so that's good.
Yeah. I worked with PHP, HTML, and CSS before. I'm also just starting to work with JavaScript now, but I don't know a lot about JavaScript yet.
Okay, that's good. So if you want, if you're okay with recording it, we can do another class tomorrow.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, and yeah, let's do it again, and then we'll go into JavaScript. So the first class is about it's very simple, like how the three type of functions that you have. So I will show you those, and also how of course basic logic like if else, how do you do a for loop and things like that. So that will be the second class. So tomorrow I'll show you those, and then maybe we can also use the website because I will solve the bugs that we have.
All right.
So yeah, okay, great.